Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. All right. Welcome back, fellas, or even women, or madam, if you're watching this. Now, I wanted to go through this video, as you can see from the title of it, which will be what to do with the pain, especially if you're a man, because I'm a man. And coming from a man's point of view of recently dealing with pain, I wanted to go through some notes that I've gone through here. I've also got some ideas from fellow content creators that really made me think about this concept about pain, and more particularly about what pain actually is and how to use it, especially as a man, how to use it to your advantage. Because the way I see pain is, pain is a great motivator. Pain is not something we should run away from. It's what makes life so beautiful, in my opinion. So the biggest thing for me in this video is going to be explaining what you need to do with the pain, and more so just an explanation of what pain leads to. But yeah, let's get it straight into it. So we've been told by society, we've been told a lie basically, that pain is bad, you know, take this pill, take that pill, self-medicate so that you don't feel pain, and that is absurd. I don't agree with, look, this may be controversial, contentious, I don't care what anyone says, but I don't agree that in order to take or to reduce the pain, you need to take some sort of substance or anything of that matter to essentially treat it. I still think that your mind and your mindset can solve any sort of problem in that regards. I do think that, yes, you should maybe talk to people about it if it's really bothering you, but the pain is normally a byproduct of when you cannot find yourself, and essentially you can't really, essentially what I'm trying to say is you're in your heart, you know something is not aligning with your consciousness, or it's not aligning with your soul. Your head could be in a different place, but your heart may be in a different place, which means that misalignment is what's causing this pain. And the biggest point here is, if you look here, it says you cannot find yourself without being completely lost. We all go through it. I don't care who you are. Everyone goes through it, where they'll be at a time point in their lives where they are completely lost and they're trying to find themselves. And the biggest beauty of life is you literally cannot find yourself without actually being in that lost process. As they say, you cannot find the light without the dark. And I think that's the biggest thing with pain, is that these being completely lost, you know, which leads to not keeping promises to yourself, big ambitions, empty vision, for example, loss of love, building alone, all these factors, or all these points of essentially experiences in your life, if you may say, cause that pain, because that's what your heart is desiring. Now, that leads to the pain here, as you can see. And the way I see it is, you have two options here. And look, coming from my point of view, I've done both options. I've gone through both options, and I've seen the repercussions, benefits of both sides, actually, to be honest. And I'm going to explain my thinking behind this and why I'm creating this video, because as I start to sometimes lose focus or lose clarity or a lack of vision of where my life is heading, especially as I'm in the rebuilding phase at the moment, it always grounds me or gets me to come back to the basics and fundamental truth of the two options I have in this scenario where there's a lot of pain in my life, essentially. Now, the two options are, you can either rebirth or you can self-destruct. I've been through both processes, and I'm going to walk you through why society tells you to go to one path, essentially, and why it would be wise as a young man or as an ambitious man to take the path of most resistance but most reward, instead of the path of least resistance and least rewards. So the two factors are rebirth and self-destruction. Now, from the point of view of self-destruction, all this pain has bottled up. It's like a funnel. All this pain has bottled up. And now you're sitting here in this pain point. And the easy way out, which I've done in the past, is to self-destruct. You go, you watch porn, you drink heaps of alcohol, you do drugs, you chase women, gambling. These are all the self-destructing behaviors or you self-medicate, right? You go to therapy and they say, take freaking this medicine or whatever it is, right? And while that may help you in the short term as a form of escapism, as I call it, from reality, those feelings will come back at a later stage. And then you'll just be back into this process of pain, and then continually doing this loop where you're in this pain, come back to self-destruct, pain, self-destruct. And it just leads to a massive, massive hole that you dig for yourself and just goes nowhere, from my own experience. Anytime I feel pain now, there's always, in the back of my head, I'm not going to lie to you guys and say in the back of my head, there's always a level, especially once you've done it, to self-destruct, there's a natural inclination, to sort of self-destruct, do this stupid stuff like gambling or even chasing women. Guys, I've done all this stuff, and I've felt so empty after that I literally could not essentially, function anymore, because I was just caught in keeping up with the Joneses, they may call it, or keeping up with this never-ending cycle of escaping my reality. Now, there's the other option that you can take, which is rebirth. And this is what I recommend all young men and men of ambition and men that really want to change their life do. What does rebirth mean? You're crafting confidence. You're telling yourself that you're going to keep up all this pain. You're going to use this pain to actually build something that you're genuinely proud of. You choose control. This could be, you're choosing control with keeping the promises you make to yourself by waking up at a certain time, sleeping at a certain time. You only control your actions. So anything that you can control, you control. And that's basically the rebirth path of taking pain and controlling whatever actions you can take on a daily basis to craft that confidence, to craft what I call the 4 stages of a man's life. Just craft the 4 stages of a man's life and really be in this bottom portion of life, which I'll run through right now. Now, when you're looking at this from a holistic point of view, there is no reward without risk. So, yes, some people go into a rebirth, craft confidence, choose control. You can only control your actions. They might go here and go to the 4 stages of a man's life. And the first point is survival work, right? They're scared, they're broke, they're just working to pay their rent. This one's an important point. Working to pay rent and working a menial job that I'm saying. So it could be a job they don't necessarily want to do. That could be like bartending, whatever it may be, working in fast food restaurant or whatever it is, and just to get by. So they're just getting a paycheck just to get by. They're not using their creative forces or their brain or their real, what their heart desires to create a meaningful life. Now, what happens here? They go to this rebirth process, they use their pain, rebirth, they get some sort of control, they go to then the survival work. What ends up happening here is the pain from here, so the pain from here then ends up being a cycle where they go back. So all this pain comes back here. And what they end up doing is society's pressure, the norms, they just go and then they repeat themselves and go back to this self-destructing behavior here, as you can see. And instead of using this pain here to go back to this point and say, okay, I'm going to rebirth, craft more control. Maybe that's, I need to gain more skills in a valuable asset or valuable thing that will allow me to then go into the second point of view, which is building the hero. You then start leveling up, whether that's you go chase a career you actually want to be in, whether you want to go into the IT field, if you're an IT consultant, or if you're a sales professional, you go into a sales job and you start building the hero from there. You start sharpening your focus, you get into a sales role, for example, if you're a sales, someone that enjoys sales and is ambitious about sales, and then you start doing or leveling up in that business. This could also mean you've identified confidence, you've identified that you want to control your life, you control your actions on a daily basis, whether that be through fitness, your mindset, your lifestyle, and then you're like, okay, I can use this now to help other people, and I can now start a business, right? That is the ultimate goal with strategic work, is you're taking a risk, you're starting a business, you're venturing out, you're seeing what there is in this world for you, and you're really aligning with your heart. That's the main goal of this rebirth process, is to get yourself into that strategic workspace. But ideally, as I said, a lot of people will still be, I wouldn't call it grappling, but they'll still be part of the hustle culture, is what I've started to identify, which is, I'll be honest with you, I'm still in between this strategic work and passion work phase, right? And what I've noticed is strategic work, whilst, yes, you're starting something of your own, it can still feel like a hustle culture and in a misalignment with your identity or your true heart's desires, because you're essentially just hustling. And sometimes, yeah, some work would be very passionate to you and like you're really just enjoying the process, but some of it just feels like an absolute drain. Like you're just sitting there in a 9-to-5 on a hamster wheel. Some of it can just feel like that because you feel like that's what society has told you to do. What I think rebirth, going through this process and doing this a couple of times and getting to this rebirth process really brings out, is getting to the next stage, which is passion work, right? This is ideally where I personally think that you can get to the passion work stage straight away. You don't necessarily need to go to the strategic work stage, but you can get straight to the passion work stage if you're truly aligned and you truly just say, fuck it. Just say fuck it and go, the pressure of money is gone. You say to yourself, just think about like artists or, you know, Picasso, someone famous that's done artistic work. They were broke, right? And they just went, okay, I'm broke, but I'm going to do what I want to do, which is just create freely something that lights them up each and every day, that they just, time just is non-existent for them when they're doing this activity. That's what we want to get to. Passion work, the pressure of money's gone, something that just lights you up. You can just keep repeating it. You've got so much energy with that you're just like non-stop. Like, just think about it. Times in my life when I've done this is doing music, when I'm hitting a nice fitness gym session, helping clients actually level up in their fitness. It's like I've got so much energy. Creating content for me is one thing as well. Like being a creative is something that is my passion work. Like I have so much energy when I'm actually creating something of value or something that lights me up, not just creating to be a clone, as they call it. So this is the ideal stage you want to be reaching to with this rebirth stage. And then from there follows on, I would say from this passion work comes down the funnel into a legacy work. And this is where all men, or even just any person in general, wants to reach. which is very difficult. This last stage takes a monumental amount of time, because a legacy is something will only eventuate once you've actually transcended or passed essentially, because then it flows on. You look at it from a outside perspective, and you would see in life that you've had a good wife, for example, good kids, you've created a family, you've set standards for your fitness, your lifestyle, you just dialed in all avenues of your life, and you're basically passing down what that pain built. So you've gone through this pain process maybe 10, 15 times in your life. You've used that to create something of absolute value, that genuinely moves people. Think of people like Tony Robbins. If you listen to motivational talks, there's guys that have built multi-million-dollar empires and continue to do so to this day. Elon Musk, think about him and how all his work with Mars and everything. He's created a real legacy of what's possible if you just imagine big and you just create, using what his pain was, which was seeing that there's a better future out there for us in this world. And that's what you're doing with this legacy work, passing down what that pain built, through immense value and through immense just discipline, and showing that you're the role model for the next generations. So a little spiel about that. That's what I've been trying to essentially come to grapple with, especially as I go through this process. Guys, you'll go through this process many times in life. It's not like you just do it once and suddenly you've rebirth, and then suddenly you're at freaking strategic work, then you move down to passion work. No, you might go to survival work, come back to pain, maybe you self-destruct, then you come back to the pain, and then you realize, oh shit, I've got a rebirth. You do the rebirth process, and then maybe you move to strategic work. Strategic work maybe doesn't work as well, so you could have pain here, and then you come back to this process again. You go, oh my God, I've got two options again. Come back to rebirth, and then you're like, okay, this time around I'm going to passion work. And basically, this is a never-ending cycle, but at the end of it, trust me, guys, trust me, at the end of it, when you finally just look at it from a holistic point of view and you see what that pain has built into you, not only from a monetary point of view, but intrinsically as a person, what you become as a person, or who you become as a person, is the most important factor, because all of the other stuff of the money, the relationships, all that kind of stuff should be a byproduct of who you are as a person. And that's what I'm finding out slowly, because I've done all sorts of shit, chase material possessions, chase money, chase girls, and it's never worked out. I'm telling you this from true wisdom or truth from living my teenage days stuck in this trap of self-destruction, pain, self-destruction. And then going through the rebirth process, having some success through strategic work, having some success through passion work as well, and then also faltering from these stages, coming back to the pain cycle, and how I'm looking to incorporate this paradigm, you may call it, into my life. So it's a bit about what's going on, and I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just coming from the heart. Especially as this morning I wasn't feeling too great, a little bit of pain with the vision, lack of clarity sometimes comes in, and I thought I'd create this video for my audience, because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to help as many people, especially men in particular, that are growing up, young men, or even just men in general that are facing these same kind of issues in life, and really helping them not make the same mistakes that society or other people might tell you to do, and shine a light on the truth. So if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button, and if you enjoy my content, make sure you subscribe for more content like this, and just comment down below what you want to see next. I'm passionate about doing this stuff, so If you have any other topics you want me to go through based on my life experience, I'm more than happy to get it done. Peace.